Hi, it's Rob Moore here. Welcome to the Disruptive Entrepreneur podcast. We're outside the Dance Attic Studios in Fulham in central London, where I'm about to go in and interview Kevin and Karen. So Kevin's second time guest and Karen from Strictly Come Dancing. So lots of West End musical auditions go on here. It's actually golden hour now, so as we go in you'll hear lots of dancing and singing and stuff in the background. So we're going to go into one of the dance studios live for the interview. Kevin, Karen, thanks for doing the podcast.
Thanks for coming down to talk to us.
Pleasure. This is like, I feel like this is where it happens. It's like an old school room, isn't it?
That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh right.
Yeah. We used to be a school and like a swimming bath.
Yeah. I can smell the sweat.
Yeah.
You can see the dinginess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You can.
What we love.
This chair's like got a hole in it.
It's a proper old
but it's
school
real.
hard work studio.
Yeah. Great. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how do you maintain working together, living together, dancing together, doing everything together without killing each other?
We kill each other all the time.
Therapy, yeah.
Lots of therapy, 3 times a week. It just works. I mean, we've been used to, working together since day one.
And when was day one? Going back like how long?
6 years ago.
We already know your marital history from the first
I'm the third and only wife left.
Yes.
Yeah.
No more marriages for you. We met in New York, 2010.
2009 we met. And then...
Right, let's not have one now.
That's not when we got together. But...
So you've been dancing together for 7 years. So when you met, you were
roughly, yeah, something like that. I think when it comes to the working relationship, when we're in the studio together, we kind of balance each other out because Karen hates like a blank sheet of paper when we're creating, say, a dance. Karen doesn't like starting from scratch, so she'll leave that to me. I'm the one that'll go like sort of put my brain on that paper. I'll go, we could do that, or we could do that, or we could be like this, or maybe this idea, and then Karen will sort of grab hold of one of them, and then because she's an amazing dancer, she'll turn it into something awesome. Whereas probably I wouldn't do the awesome thing straight away, but I'll go this or this or this or this, and she'll go, it's that, but if we turned it that way, Karen figures out how to make it look awesome.
Yeah, I cannot go in. I get anxiety when they give me music and I go, I don't know what to do with that. I hate counting, I hate choreographing. So, which is something that I have to do professionally.
You are a dancer, let's just remind yourself of this.
It's so weird, I have these pet peeves, and Kevin is just great at coming up with the idea, and then I like to just pick at things and then create from that.
Yeah.
And then, but...
Are you avoiding the initial question, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's working together.
So basically you're saying when you're working together, you kind of know each other's strengths.
Yes.
And you allow each other to have your strengths.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're sort of like a joint venture partnership.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah. We quickly figured that out.
From the beginning. That's
together.
So you let Kevin start it and then you let Karen run with it.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. But it's funny because it usually starts out with me panicking either way. And then he'll go, no, I'll take care of it. And that's when everything just kind of calms down. But, and I mean, the rest, we do fight where, we're like...
I was going to say, like what you do is intense as a hobby. As a profession. Yeah.
We're sort of, the home bit we're sort of trying to figure out because... what I tend to do is I'll stay in it a lot. So we'll say be here in the studio till 6 p.m. or say when we're doing Strictly, we can be there till late at night. And then I'll come home and my brain will still be going and I find it quite difficult to turn off.
Yeah.
Whereas Karen likes that cut-off point of I finish work at this time, now I'm home. There's no more talk about work. So sometimes we sort of come to blows over that a little bit because I'll be going, but what if we could do it like that? And she's going, shut up, I don't want to hear anything about dancing tonight.
Yeah.
So we're still working on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that we just have to learn how to balance, but even after years of living together and working together, it still kind of affects us at home. And you kind of, sometimes it's allowed, sometimes we have to allow it because we do choreograph at home as well, so we have to bring work home. But there's certain times where we have to, I like to just go, no, I need to just turn off and cook, and you watch the football, and we'll take care of the dog, and just kind of live a normal life, which we don't have.
Yeah.
So sometimes I want to be normal, but I can't not have dance come into the house. Like, we just, it is our workplace as well. But, it is straining at times, but, you just...
Do you have any ways you deal with that then?
Therapy.
Yeah.
Seriously, we do go to a therapist and we talk about our issues. Yeah. And I think it's a great thing. A lot of people are afraid, you go to couples therapy, and it's not because we're having major issues. I mean, sometimes we are, but those little things can turn sometimes into big things. Yeah. And before they do that, we need to just attack them and talk about them, because yes, we are very comfortable with each other, but sometimes we don't like talking to each other at times. Yeah. And we don't know how to communicate certain things. So it's good to go to someone that's neutral and spill it out and let it out there. And then it's actually really helped us.
It's like with anything, like if you don't know how to do something, you want to achieve it, find the person that knows how to do it and ask them how to do it. And so when it comes to dealing with our sort of work and life sort of balance in our relationship, just go and talk to someone who knows about that stuff. Yeah. So that's what we just decided to do.
And it gives you tools. Now when I feel that I'm getting a bit angry, if Kevin's done something, I have to just tell him. But I need to tell him in a very calm way, because I can get very upset quickly. Yes. I'm very loud.
There's an audio stroke a book called Real Love in Marriage. Okay. Greg Baer, B-A-E-R. You will. Okay. It's like even when you're not angry, I can just feel the feistiness. That's probably what makes you a great dancer. It's all the fire. But it's interesting that you said, I want to communicate something with Kevin, but of course it's often not what you say. By the way, I didn't intend this to be a counselling session in this podcast. But the reason, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take the heat off you a bit now. So the reason I asked that is because a load of my listeners, they're setting up small businesses, they're doing their passion profession thing like you are, and they're working with friends and family, and sometimes they're working with their partner. And I worked with Gemma for probably 5 years. Yeah. And it's like there's not a lot of people out there telling you how to deal with that. And it's a completely different thing from working with someone who's, you tell them what to do, you tell them what to do, you tell them what to do, versus working with, your partner. Because it's funny, because when I hired Gemma, she was hired by me. I couldn't tell her what to do. And he swore on my own podcast. I couldn't tell her what to do. Yeah. And but she could tell me what to do. And everyone in the office is going, he's the boss. Did you see what she just said? It's like, and then, like what you said, we go home, and then it's funny because we had this like no talking about work rule, because in the end it was too much, and we were, like even if it's just binge watching Netflix, you want to do something that's not work. And we'd sit there with the phones and we'd email each other. She's there, I'm there. No talking about work rule. Just ping a few emails back. It's sad. I take it you don't email each other when you're sat next to each other.
No.
That's when you.
I think you tweeted you love me. I think you have, Okay. Or maybe because I was mad at him.
So how do you think you've sustained working and living and being in a relationship together? What are your...
I think communication, obviously, and sort of figuring out the things that stop you from working or the things that work, and then setting some rules around it. That's what it's about. Like the other day, something came up that it came out that Karen was really annoyed with me. But it was something like carrying out the bins or something, that I don't do it. And it was basically like, we do this, and I do this bit of the dancing, and you do that bit of the choreographing, and then we come home and we have the rule where we're not going to talk about it, but you're doing this, and I'm cooking the meal, but I'm also doing the washing, and then if I look there and the bins haven't been carried out, it's like all these roles are mine all of a sudden, but that was never decided. And as stupid as that is, like it's just tiny little things, it's like you fall into a pattern of I'm doing this and you're doing that, but that was never actually decided. And now since then, I had no idea that this was even a massive issue, so I ended up going, oh okay, so that's a new rule then, that I do that. You do that bit, I do this bit, and then at work, I do that bit, you do that bit, and just dividing up and communication and making.
So it's like clarity of roles, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's, because I guess sometimes I like coming home and again taking care of everything at home because that gets me away from
If
work.
he ever gets rid of you, we can get married then because that sounds good to me.
I love cooking, I love cleaning, I look after the dog, I fix the bed. But again, I'm thinking about work and then I come home and I'm thinking about what am I going to cook for Kevin and what's going to happen or what I have, all the laundry that I have to do. So I'm multitasking at the same time that I'm thinking about work. And then, but when I get home, that's not what I want to do. And what I want from him, even though I haven't told him, was to do the same.
Yeah.
But I want him to take care of the garbage. I want him to take care of, putting the lid down on the toilet. Just things Emma John. Hey, you're making fun of my work.
No, we're not. We're just translating.
The
Right?
rubbish,
Yeah.
But so I never communicated that to him. So now I'm going, you know what? I need you to help me out at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the cooking, you're going to put the dishes away.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to ask you. I want you to just do it. But sometimes, again, it's that repetitive. I need to, in order for us to, the same way that we dance and we keep on repeating our steps to memorize them and muscle memorize, it's the same thing that we have to do with our relationship.
Do you ever have any time apart?
This year we
just
started actually.
Because it's actually quite healthy, isn't it?
I
We just decided that it's a good thing because we have spent so much time, we live together, eat together, go and dance together in the studio, and then we're performing together and coming home together. And it's just all the time together, and we have all the same circle of friends. So whenever we're going out for a few drinks or whatever, we're together going and meeting the same people. So we actually came to the conclusion that
there's couples who've been married for 50 years and they've not spent as much time together as you guys.
So now, I went to New York for 7 days, or 7 to 8 days, and I got to visit my family, spend some time with my friends, and even now I'm spending time with. I have a different set of friends now than Kevin. And I go out with my girls, and I'll make my plans to go get my nails done, or go to have dinner with just the girls, and Kevin will do the same. So I feel like when I get home, I actually want to see him now, and I have stuff to talk about. Or I started doing projects on my own as well. So but now I feel like I have something to say, and it's interesting. But that's one of the things that we talked about in therapy as well, to have a little bit of space and give each other a little bit of me time, which I didn't think was ever possible because I love spending time with him, but now I actually not that I like spending time away from you, but
now I don't.
But I quite like doing my own thing.
And you know what? You don't need to feel guilty about that because I think a lot of people do, don't they? But anyway, I want to take the heat off this little bit. So. You got a lot going on at the moment. It's really exciting. We were talking about it before we put the cameras on.
Yeah.
So tell us what you've been doing the last week and tell us what's happening next week and all this.
For the last 2.5 weeks, we've been in here, not in this room, the bigger one downstairs, rehearsing for our first national theatre tour.
Yeah, your very own.
Yeah, the Kevin and Karen Dance Live tour.
It's been a dream of ours since we met. Actually.
It's been about a five-year plan to get to this point.
Yeah.
Which involved Strictly Come Dancing. We were met in a dance company called Burn the Floor, and we said quite quickly we'd love to have our own show and do our own thing and tell our story and stuff. And part of us wanting to get onto Strictly Come Dancing was to
build your profile,
build our profile, and get us into a position where we could do that. And here we are, sort of 5 years later. We open in a week's time.
Wow. So tell us how you're feeling about that.
I'm scared. I'm excited, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that we have left to do, and also we'll be talking. So there's a script that we have to learn. So not only do we have to memorize all the intricate choreography that our choreographer director's putting together, but we also have to talk about our life and talk about ourselves And I find that really difficult. Like for me,
if you get stuck, just talk about your therapy session.
No, but you know, it's that thing, and you're going to be timed and everything.
Yeah.
So you know, there's a lot on our shoulders. There's a lot of weight on our shoulders and a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
But it's very exciting because right now it feels frantic, and I quite like feeling frantic and feeling like I'm not going to make it. And then Wednesday night comes up, and you know, it all comes together, and it always ends up you never feel prepared. Like I feel like whenever we go into any show that we've ever done, because this show was born from a very small show that we did in Grimsby, actually, that we put together, an evening with Kevin and Karen, that we literally put in 2 weeks, and we, you know, for 3 years in a row, we turned it into what is now our national tour, and that little show was always frantic. It was always crazy. It was always very last minute. So I've almost gotten used to get that feeling of feeling under pressure. So then so then I can deliver. Yeah. Pretty much. But I'm breaking it. All that, I'm breaking it.
And sounds like the sales have gone well.
It's gone really well. Yeah. We're sort of almost sold out.
How many dates are you doing?
25 dates.
Is it 25?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know that? I didn't know that exactly. I know we open on the 31st. I know we finish on the 25th.
Yeah.
Which
So
is some
open 31st of May.
31st
and finish.
We close on the 25th of June, but there's some dates where we're doing 2 shows in the day,
right.
A matinee and an evening.
Yeah. Okay, and then you've got you have the odd day off, but not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
That's probably better that way.
Yeah. That is going to be exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. We're really excited about it. But it's massive.
So how much work has to go into like a tour like that? How long have you been planning for it? I mean, I know you've been 5 years in your mind.
We first got sort of promoters around the table
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, to sort of pitch to them what we wanted to do with it. And then there was a bit of back and forth with, you know, we wanted it to go in totally this direction, and they were more like, well, can it not be just like Strictly's Kevin and Karen on stage, you know, a cabaret night? And then we sort of compromised on a few things.
And how have you found doing that? Because being strong artists like yourself, wearing his Iron Maiden t-shirt, I can't imagine that you're going to want to restrict your creativity.
Well, it's a give and take. We knew what they were, you know, we knew what the promoters, obviously they know what, you know, what they want and what sells. But obviously as artists, we wanted you know, to be true to our art and true to what we naturally want to do. But we had to compromise.
And how did you find that? Because I have this in my publishers at the moment a lot. Book covers and all that kind of stuff. It's like...
I mean, you'd like to get everything your own way, but if you do try and do everything your own way, they might have said, well, no, we're not going to put any money behind this because, you know, they want to make sure they sell tickets, so they want it to be a certain way. And so, you know, we'd rather do the show than not do it. And also, if you're trusting them to promote it and fill it, and it sounds like they've done a good job, surely you've got to trust their commercial experience of knowing what sells. Exactly. And then hopefully, like the more it goes on, you know, for them also, that they were taking a bit of a gamble on us with putting the money up front and everything. They didn't know whether it was going to sell or not, and
so they fully financed it.
Yeah.
Right. And, well, you did good there. Almost like an option type deal. Walk away if it goes wrong.
And then hopefully, you know, for next year, that they've already started to say, wow, we didn't expect the tickets to sell as well as they have, and you know, we don't want to just roll out the same show next year, so let's talk more about your original ideas and stuff, and you know, so they start to trust us a little bit, and hopefully we'll have more creative control next year.
But I think that worked though. I mean, I think that it was good to kind of just put your ego to the side and just, you know, do as you're told, I guess, for now, and to learn the ropes a little bit as well.
Specifically what happened was that we wanted to do like a storyline. So like taking a storyline, like, so say it was just something that everybody knows, Cinderella. That's not what we were going to do, but Cinderella is something that everybody knows, and we're all playing characters in a sort of dance musical. And they wanted Kevin and Karen from Strictly Come Dancing an evening with.
sparkles.
But
Yeah.
we were like,
I could just imagine how you dressed.
We'd come out,
Yeah.
do a few dances, do a Q&A with the audience,
Yeah.
that, an evening with cabaret type show,
Yeah.
which a lot of the Strictly dancers do. But we want to do a storyline. So the compromise has been met in the middle. We're doing Kevin and Karen, but we're doing our story.
Right.
So we've created like the narrative. We've created a storyline throughout the show so it is going to be like a dance musical storyline show, but it's Kevin and Karen's story.
Yeah.
So everyone still knows it's the Kevin and Karen from Strictly show.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like quite a cool concept, actually. Maybe that hybrid concept is better than both originals.
Maybe, yeah. Hopefully everyone's going to enjoy it.
Yeah, because I mean, there are many artists out there, aren't there, who want to have complete creative control of what they do.
Yeah.
And do you think sometimes letting go a little bit is a good thing?
Absolutely. I mean, because there were times when we wanted to choreograph, wanted to direct, wanted to do everything ourselves, and costumes, makeup, everything, and it just doesn't work.
No.
You can't be everywhere at one time, and having someone there choreographing for you, and then you kind of giving a little bit of an input, always works. So I think it is good to let other people take control, and let them do what they're good at, and we obviously are good at being on stage and hopefully being on stage. But I think it is good to have other people do the job. And I mean, we have a great team around us that we trust. Our dancers are absolutely incredible. So I mean, and that was one of the most important things for us as well, that we were on stage with people that we trusted, and we were being directed by someone that knew our story and that knew us. So Jason Gilkinson, who we've known for many years now, 10 years now, he's directing and choreographing. So it was very important for us to have him.
What's the difference between direction and choreographing then?
He's doing both, but the choreography is the steps, the actual making the steps of the routines. The director would be the guy that sort of oversees the whole thing, so he's talking about props on stage and the way it's going to go there, and then you'll take the microphone over that side of the stage, sort of directing the whole vision. Yeah. A lot of musicals will have like their director, and then they'll have a choreographer to come in and take care of the dance steps, and but he's a director choreographer. And
do most dancers outsource, forgive my business spiel, choreography, or in-source and do it themselves, or does it depend?
A lot of them choreograph themselves.
I think they don't outsource enough. I think a lot of them try to do their own stuff a little bit too much.
And why is that a bad thing, in your view?
It's not necessarily a bad thing. They're all
or why do you think
great choreographers, but you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can't really see, like you'll be doing stuff on yourself, but it's great to have a third eye. Especially if that third eye is better than you. Yeah. And in my opinion, we hold ourselves, quite highly and like to think that we're good at choreography, and we do that on Strictly. But Jason Gilkinson, in my opinion, is the best in the world at our style of dancing. So, one of the first things the promoters asked us when they were fronting the money up and we were going ahead with it, they were saying, do you want to do it all yourselves, or do you want a director and a choreographer to do it? And for me, it was a no-brainer. Yeah. And do you have someone in mind? Yeah, the guy who's the best in the world. Yeah. Because then the show's going to be better than if I just did it myself. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, how interested are you on the business side of it?
Yeah, very.
The business side of dance.
Yeah.
I don't just mean like taking the money.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that question to you, Kevin.
I mean, we were talking earlier about you've got someone who's just paid for like one dance, and you were saying like, well, why have we put this in the diary? And then you look at the fee and you think, that's why.
I mean, you're not so much, you don't like to talk about all that sort of stuff, really, do you?
I mean, I don't know, I'm learning a lot from Kevin, actually, because now that he's, doing all this business things, which I find very sexy, now I'm kind of interested here and there, but I don't really pay attention to that, but maybe because...
Don't you think it's important, though, to manage your financial affairs?
Absolutely, I think it's very important, and that's why I feel like I need to pay more attention now. Yeah. And because it is something that we will be taking on board even more. I mean, now that this tour, has sold it and it's very successful, for now, we have our schools, we have other things going on that I like to keep an overview, and I need to make sure that I know everything that's happening and be wise about what's happening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I like to keep an eye on it all because everything that we do right now as dancers, everything that we've always done is just chunks of money all the time.
Yeah.
It's sort of like we'll do this, it's gigs.
Yeah.
We do this gig and we get X amount of
You're
money.
exchanging your time for money.
Yeah, and then we do the Strictly Come Dancing on TV and we get that amount of money. We'll do this tour and get that amount of money. And right now, while we're on TV, on Strictly, it's a bigger amount of money than what it was before we were on TV. But we're not going to be on TV when we're 50 years old or whatever. We're not going to be on Strictly Come Dancing anyway. I would imagine. I don't know, but it might not be on TV anymore, or they might not want us anymore, or whatever it is. It'll have a lifespan.
Yeah.
And so, the other day, I was going through the finances, wasn't I? And I was going, so look what we're spending on that month. This is what we've spent on Ubers.
This is going to be funny.
This is why we're in therapy.
This is what we spend on Ubers.
The amount that we spend on Ubers, the amount that we spend on coffee, the amount that we spend on, just things like that. Eating out or ordering in, or clothes or whatever. And I think because you can go and do, a gig or whatever and earn a chunk of money for it. Yeah. You think, well, we've just done that gig and earned that amount of money. Getting an Uber's not a problem.
Yeah.
But when it all adds up, every month, and then you get used to that way of living.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, I was looking at it and going, okay, so that's how much on average we're spending a month on all of this stuff, and that's the total figure that we're spending a month. Take out the big gigs that we're getting at the moment because of, say, Strictly Come Dancing. If we take out that, that's the deficit right now.
My husband.
Not just for taking the garbage out.
So what we need to do is we need to bring this down a bit to here and get to a point where we're creating something which brings in a steady monthly income, or even better would be a passive income.
Yeah, hence your interest in property and
exactly. Just looking for things all the time, because otherwise we'll fall into that trap that you see a lot of people fall into, where it's just like, oh, I did that gig or that tour or that show and I've earned that money, so I'm going to spend it on that.
Yeah, and then they spend it and they don't necessarily get the next big gig.
Yeah, and we've seen it happen to people, so I don't want that.
And commercially, is it easy for dancers to kind of get exploited? Because I guess you guys aren't really taught a lot the commercial side of dancing.
No, not really, actually. I mean, the great thing is that we have a good team around us. We have, our booking agent, we have a regular agent, we have our publicist. So, but it is very easy for people to try to take advantage of it, definitely. But, our booking agent is like a Rottweiler. Yeah. And, I mean, you can't put a price on talent or on dance or anything like that, but she does put a price on that. But there are some people that would do shows for less money, and then other people will look at you and like, why are you charging that, or so it is very hard sometimes to kind of just put your price out there.
Yes.
But if you know your worth and you're
I did do a podcast on how to double your prices, so you should go back and listen to that
one. I'll triple it.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult one as well, because by the same token of not valuing yourself enough, and you should charge how you value yourself. And we had a couple of years ago, we were asked to do a show for someone who runs a dance school, and we quoted a price that we thought was fair, that everyone else on our sort of level was charging about the same, and because he in particular didn't want to pay that, he went onto Facebook and he started slating us and saying about how he's got a dance school full of kids who we should want to come back and inspire those kids in the industry that made us, and almost like we owed him something, like we should come and do something for them. But as harsh as it sounds, because that sounds lovely, yes, we should come back to inspire a new generation of kids that would look up to us on TV.
But you can do that and have a fair exchange price, can't you?
By the same token, he's not going to let all the kids in for free to come and watch it. So he's not necessarily interested in doing that only. When I was competing, and I know him from, he used to be a judge and he used to compete himself. When I was competing and I was a poor amateur dancer living in my car, he only booked me once in all the years I was at the top of the game of competitions, and he paid me about 200 quid to come and do 5 dances for him. And never booked me again. And then I've been out of the competition game now for nearing on 10 years, and then he wanted to book me now. The reason he wanted to book us now was because he can put his ticket prices up because we're on Strictly Come Dancing. So that's why he wants us to come, and he can raise his ticket price. So it's a difficult one because you want to go. Of course we want to go and inspire a new generation of dancers, but also, we can't just work for free. And there's a lot of money has gone into investing in ourselves to get us to where we are today. It's not like we're just trundling along to a little dance class every week. And, like I say, I was living in my car trying to pay for my dances.
You guys have been serving your whole life. Whole life.
It is not an easy road at all. I mean, I grew up in the Bronx, single mom, and she didn't have money to buy my clothes for dance, and I was in a dance project called Arts Connection that actually helped me, and it guided me, and it gave me clothing, and it gave me what I needed for my dance career. And scholarships and everything, and it is a very expensive thing, very expensive hobby. It's not, especially for ballroom dancing, with all the dresses and the makeup and the traveling, and then for someone to kind of just, stab you in the back like that, or kind of just start talking trash is, it does kind of make
you
you
need to keep their feet on the ground and all that.
When people go, oh, just because you're on TV now you think you're a star, it's like, no, we've actually worked so hard.
Because we're on TV, that's why you're booking us.
But
and how does that affect you? The haters, the trolls,
Well, they're everywhere.
It's horrible. You can't pretend that it's not. It's horrible. You try not to see it, but it's quite difficult to avoid sometimes. There's some really horrible people out there that on social media.
I have a few of my own. There's a Facebook page called Rob Moore Money Grabber. It's actually quite funny. If it wasn't about me, I'd probably laugh. If you don't risk anything, you risk everything. Now give me your money at the bottom. And I've just promoted it. Whoops. It's
someone made me aware. It's not specifically about me, but there is a page that someone made me aware of not long ago, some forum that people go on, which, without it being called anything about Kevin Clifton, just seems dedicated to hating on me and my sister and Karen. It's like a Clifton hating thing, and I've sort of looked at it a couple of times, and I just think, wow, these people are saying things like they don't. I've never met these people. They don't know me at all. At the end of the day, we're just trying to do our best to dance, to be professional dancers and try and do the best job we can. And they just want to hate because you're not the one that they like, or everyone's really dancing. But you just have to not look at it. So I saw it once or twice, and then
so is that how you deal with it? You just try and
because you go nuts, because it does hurt. It's easy to sit there and say, oh, I don't care, it just bounces off me. But when someone's really ripping into you and being horrible about you, it's not nice. And these people never know anything about you or the real story behind anything, but they think they do. And
have you accepted that that's the price to pay for fame and success, or do you still think it's unfair?
Well, I mean, you're out in the public, so I mean, it's funny because it's almost easier for people to hate on you than to actually celebrate you, or it's funny coming into the limelight and seeing how much hate comes towards you at a time. I mean, there's a lot of love as well. I mean, there's a lot of fans that are incredible.
And it's also maybe a bit naive to think you can have all the fans and none of the haters, isn't it? I mean, we'd all love that. But
absolutely. But there's times where you get attacked left and right, and you want to answer back, but you don't want to give them
especially when you see something and you go, oh God, you actually know nothing about the situation.
Yes, exactly.
They comment on some situation on Strictly or whatever, and you go, God, don't know anything, anywhere near the truth of anything about that. and you want to tell them.
But then that's the fuel. That's the fuel, and then it's the oxygen.
You realise it's about 10 people, and there's 12 million watching.
And actually, they don't hate you.
No.
They hate how you're making them feel about their own life.
Yeah.
Because in the world of property training, or in the world of what I do, podcasting, and being a perceived expert, although I don't call myself that, there are a certain amount of people that what they do is hate on those people. It's like they were born to anyone who runs a course or trains or runs a podcast or whatever, they hate on them.
Yeah.
And when it's to you, you feel like it's personal. Yeah. But then when you realise next week it's the next guy, next week it's the next guy, next week it's the next guy, it's not personal.
Yeah, exactly. And you did a list, I think it was on Facebook or on something, that there was a, however many reasons when you know that you're successful. And one of them was you start getting a load of haters. Something like that. I'm going to save it on my phone. And Louise Redknapp said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Said if you don't have any haters, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're relevant.
Yeah.
When you get haters.
And it's funny because we all talk about this, but there's still that soft, mushy part of us.
Horrible.
Yeah. Wish that everyone would love us.
Say bad things
We're
about me.
lovable.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned to block a lot of people, but at the same time, because you want to, encourage positivity, and when you answer back to these people, then they're, your real fans, the people that are actually being positive, they gang up on that person.
Yeah.
And obviously then they start arguing, but you don't want any of that, but it feels kind of nice that other people have your back.
Yeah.
But you just learn how to, and I think we've told Joanne as well, because Joanne, Kevin's sister, loves going into the forums and reading things.
Right.
And then it does when
God,
when you used to do that.
That is so draining of time and energy, and it's addictive. It's like watching someone be sick. Someone's about to be sick. You can't watch because they're going to be sick. And you have to watch it. And it's like,
So, she stopped doing that, but it's one of those things that then you start, thinking, oh my God, I don't have great legs, or I don't have the perfect shape, or I'm not as pretty as the other girls. So they said that I look like a man. So it's just one of those things that people say the most awful things, but if you don't read it, you don't see it, it doesn't matter. Whatever you don't know, it doesn't hurt you. So we try not to read anything, and if there are any reviews that are being written that we know are going to be written about our show, we will definitely not look at them.
Yeah. Because the thing is, here's the thing about reviews, because I've got quite a lot of one-star reviews on my books. Right. But I mean, if you look at a percent, like one of my books has got about 917 reviews, which is pretty high. Yeah. And there's 25 one-stars. But isn't it funny how I go and read the one-stars first? Yeah. Not the 880 5 stars, the 20-odd one-stars. Yeah. So it's funny, isn't it? How it just
you always go looking for the negative.
Perspective.
Because I don't know, maybe it's the thing that if you read the negative, then you're going to try to improve. Yeah. You want to see how you can fix that not for that person.
But then you start changing who you are for the sake of one troll, who's probably not. I know half my one-star reviews. I know they're competitors because I found out where they are. So it's like, that's a dangerous game, isn't it? When you start changing who you are. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't take any notice of it.
And also, a review doesn't make you either worse or better at what you just did. Who you are and what you just did is exactly who you are. Yeah. Whether you get the best review in the world or the worst review, it doesn't change who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a review or people commenting on you is a sort of, like you say, it's a reflection of them and how they feel about something. It's not like fact about you. Yeah. It's what they think. So
I feel like sometimes, whenever I go see a show, if I'm tired, if I hadn't had any sleep or anything like that, if I haven't eaten, and I go watch a show, it's the worst show for me. Or if I'm not sitting in the correct place, like it really does affect me. We went to see Les Mis here in the West End. I hated it. We went to see it on Broadway. We sat in the front, and it was the most amazing thing.
Yeah, it's the same show.
Yeah,
it was the same show.
Sometimes it's your own mood.
Yes, yeah.
So I mean, it also depends, what mood you're in, or even if that's the style that you like. Some people might not like Latin and ballroom dancing, or might not like what Matthew Bourne does. but they have to critique it. And it might not be their cup of coffee, but they might hate it. So you might get that 1 star.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, sometimes you don't know what these reviewers or what these haters want.
Yeah.
So, but you can't just, you just have to go. And that's why you can't read anything. You can't look at anything. And that's why I'm not going to read or look at anything, because I don't want to change my direction.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to affect, because I feel good. I feel like the company, for example, or whatever we've done or gotten reviewed, you always feel good about what you're doing because of all the work that you put into it. And that one person can destroy all of that.
Yeah.
So.
Here's the thing though. If let's say you had 100 positive reviews and no bad reviews, people wouldn't believe it. And also, I bet you there's some critics you've got out there, sorry to challenge you, and I bet some of them have got constructive feedback that's worth listening to and reading.
Yeah.
So I guess the challenge is taking your soul, putting it over there, not letting your soul get affected, and thinking, actually, because if I had 917 5-star reviews and no 1 stars, you'd go, well, this is a scam. Because there's no 1-star reviews, so they're all fake. In fact, half the reviews are on the fact that the reviews are fake, even though they're not. And also, sometimes some of the reviews, you look at them and you go, oh, it was a bit wordy, or it was a bit long, or whatever. And you think, actually, that's fair.
Yeah.
Critique.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of things, like someone will come on Twitter or something and go, I thought that like say when on the last series I was dancing with Louise, Louise was a bit, like this. She kept looking at the floor or something like that when she was dancing, and you think, yeah, they're right actually. We'll definitely work on that. It's fine. I don't mind it. I like if people are just normal about it. It's when you get the nasty ones that you just gotta completely ignore.
Yeah, who aren't real people most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So. The vision. So you had a 5-year vision and you're about to make that a reality, which is really exciting. I'm going to try and get Gemma along to one of the shows.
Yeah.
If there are any tickets
of course,
there. Yeah. What's going to happen beyond that?
Well, hopefully coming up with a new show would be great. Obviously, hopefully we get back on Strictly.
Yeah.
But I think the vision is to create a show with, like Kevin said before, that it's almost like a danceicle, a movie set as a dance piece.
Yeah.
Having our own dance company.
Right.
Building our dance schools. I think there's a lot of stuff that we want to do, but it's just finding how to making sure that we do everything, but that we create departments for everything. So we have our company, we have our schools, we have my fitness things, and we have Kevin's property,
Empire.
Yeah. There's a lot, kids.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is that an announcement?
No, this isn't. Not that I know.
You saw it here first.
Well, I know. I think I touched on it on last time I spoke to you on the podcast, but
by the way, sorry to interrupt. You're the only person I've interviewed second time round.
Okay.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I want to change and disrupt the ballroom dance industry.
Yeah.
Because it's only geared towards competitions at the moment. And I just don't think that's the best. I don't think it's the healthiest way for an art to be that everything is geared towards competition. It's like if the only thing in the song industry, in music industry, was X Factor as a competition, that was it, and there's nothing outside of that in terms of opportunities for singers. It would be really unhealthy for people that want to sing for their career. That's what ballroom dancing is at the moment. Everything is geared towards competitions, exams and competitions.
Well, often the competition actually damages the career, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go on X Factor or anything like that, you cannot shake that off your back. Like one of my favourite bands is Radiohead, and I thought, imagine a band like Radiohead who are artistic, creative, unique, innovative, a little bit melancholy, whatever, and they went on they went on a competition.
Yeah.
That's it. They can never express themselves properly, can they?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think it'll be hard to shift the, being strictly dancers?
Well, no, I think it's about...
Or is it different in this world?
Yeah, I think it's about creating just different opportunities that they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
That there isn't an industry out there where there are shows like the one we're opening next week.
Yeah.
Where there are just, like ballets or like Matthew Bourne does, where there are storyline sort of dance musicals.
Right.
So
you're creating a hybrid, basically.
Yeah. We want another avenue of opportunity for ballroom dancers where they can perform in shows.
Yeah.
Not just compete against each other for trophies. And you hear the kids, and there's lots of kids coming into it because of Strictly Come Dancing. There's lots of kids wanting to do it. There's things out there, but what you hear them talk about, even from a very young age, is I want to win that trophy.
Yeah.
They're not talking about the dancing.
Yes.
Like we want to win.
Yeah.
We want to win that trophy, and
I guess
more and more trophies.
To dance to win a trophy is different to dance. Not that I'm no dance guru, obviously, but to dance to express yourself versus to dance to win a trophy.
Yeah.
Probably a very different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, they might win lots of trophies, but ultimately, if that is the sole aim, in terms of how good they are as a dancer, it's only going to restrict them. Because they're always going to be... Because the judges become, like you said, like someone that might critique you on social media or a forum, and then you start adapting yourself to that. When you've got 12 judges...
Then you become an external vision of yourself rather than who you really are.
Yeah, you're looking at the judges and going, right, well, that judge likes this sort of technique and that judge likes that. So you start adapting yourself to that.
Yeah.
So you're not creating your own art or expressing yourself. Which is one of the reasons that I left from the whole thing, to try and find something different. So now we want to disrupt the whole thing, create opportunities, shows, opportunities for people to be on stage. Maybe even more like TV and film stuff, but where there's opportunities for ballroom dancers, because it's all there for ballet dancers and even street dancers now, and jazz dancers, tap dancers, all these different kinds of dancing. For ballroom dancing is still only about trophies.
Yeah.
So we have to change that, and then it becomes more attractive to people, and there's more avenues for people to really go and create.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole, working with Burn the Floor, the dance company that we met in, we had a lot of ballroom dancers that turned to theater, and they became that hybrid, and that's where we came from, and that's what we love. I mean, I loved being in the theater, and I hated competing, and it's not. I started out as a ballet dancer, as a contemporary dancer as well, and being on stage was everything. That's winning to me never felt like. It was never a competition. It was a competition to make sure that I improved, and that I got that scholarship, and that I got wherever I needed to get. But when I started competing, it kind of just, I felt empty.
Yeah.
I felt like I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And it just took all of that. You were just driving to get that first place, and when you got sixth place, you felt like a loser. So seeing these kids competing, and listen, some of them are absolutely brilliant, and it is good to have a little bit of the competitiveness and that drive, but I don't think it's necessary for you to be given a trophy to be told that you're the best, because there's a lot of dancers out there that are absolutely brilliant, and we don't see them. Or they don't get the chance to be first place because there's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on that a lot of people don't know about, and there's a lot of money that goes into it that a lot of families don't have, and a lot of kids sometimes get left behind that are very talented. So we want to take those kids and even those kids that are very competitive, hopefully change their mind around a little bit and get them to actually enjoy what they're doing.
It's a whole mindset.
Because you end up quitting. And then you end up just, doing a 9-to-5 job is amazing, but creating it and using your body and, sweating everything out and dancing, it is the best thing ever.
I'm sweating out in here right now. It's getting hot.
I mean, I had my odd jobs. I was a waitress. I worked at a supermarket packing bags, and then I worked as a cashier. I worked as a personal trainer, to pay for my dance classes and everything. And then all of a sudden you're just, you have, the only way that you can do this is that if you're 100% in it.
Do you think part of the struggle of getting to where you are is part of what's made you who you are?
I mean, definitely. I mean, for me, and us working together, we're very driven, and you need that hunger. You need that hunger. You need to want to, what's next. Yes, we're on Strictly Come Dancing, and it's, it's a great show, but what's next? We're not going to always be here. We were on Burn the Floor, we were on Broadway, on the West End, we've traveled all around the world, but there is still more to do. There's still more to inspire, there's still more to learn.
But I think the key difference in the mindset from where we are now to say from the competition world is it's about like, how can we be the best that we can be? What's the best thing that we can do now? What's the next step for us? As opposed to, how can I be better than that guy?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk bad about that guy. And like, there's a few other shows right now that have people from Strictly Come Dancing doing theatre tours this year. I've got no interest in trying to go, well, my show's better than your show.
Yeah.
I think a lot of ballroom competitive people have that mindset. It's like it only matters if they're the best one, and they're better than those ones. And then they get sort of bitter about each other. And then there's certain pros that have left the show that are very bitter about stuff. And they're like, one of them's become one of the trolls. It's like they just troll the show and talk bad about it and say, oh, well, this one shouldn't do this because he's not very good. They're so angry about everything.
And that can really distract you from your own clear vision, can't it?
That person doesn't have a dance career anymore.
Yeah.
Because they've just got so bitter about trying to beat everyone else that they forgot to actually
express who they are
and see what they can do.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about, and I love. That's why what we do in our dance schools, it's not geared towards competitions or them taking exams for the kids. It's about learning to dance.
Yeah. And how's that been, setting up your own dance schools?
Yeah, it's a learning curve, definitely. I mean, it's gone really well. It's actually going really well. The one in Wimbledon, we have one in Wimbledon, one in Putney, and one in Chiswick.
Yeah.
And you try to be there as much as possible. But again, it was one of those things that we were planning it out, and then we were going to launch it, and then it got set back, and then all of a sudden we were like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just put it out there. Let's just make it work. We'll figure it out as we go. We're still figuring it out. But it's so far. It's had a little bit of a setback, but now it's kind of
just in numbers. But the biggest challenge for us with it is the fact that it's our name to it, and we can't be there all the time. And ultimately, we want it to be everywhere in the country. We want our dance classes and our sort of way of teaching people of teaching the kids to be a national thing, which means we wouldn't anyway be able to be in every single city in the country, every night. So we're training teachers to teach it in our way and with our syllabus to teach these kids. But I think as we're starting it, there'll be a lot of parents that want their kids to be taught by me and Karen specifically. So when we sort of can't be there, we're trying to remove ourselves from it, when we're away on tour or doing Strictly or whatever, and we've got our teachers working there, then the numbers drop off slightly when they realise it's not going to be me and Karen. We're trying to find a way of...
good balance.
Of getting what we want to do across, but, without having to be there all the time because we just can't be. That's our biggest challenge with it.
Yeah.
A bit tricky.
Well, I can help you with that. Yes. I did 250 something speaking days in 1 year. So, I mean, I know you've probably done 250 dance days in 1 year, but when I'm running a business that's turning a few million quid over as well, that was like, I remember I was doing one speech and I was talking and then I floated out of my own body and stood over there and started looking at myself while I was talking. You're talking shit, mate. They're not listening to you. They think you're full of shit. And then I thought I'm doing too many speaking gigs. And we have 144 trainers now. So that is, you have to be careful, don't you? I mean, we called our company Progressive, not Rob and Mark.
Exactly.
And I think that helped. But then you kind of need to call it Kevin and Karen because everyone knows you. So you could either have Kevin and Karen, but it's a lot more money. So it's worth your time doing it. And then finding teachers who share your values. Because actually quite a lot of we've got different types of trainers. So we've got like one chap called David who's in his 60s and he's really funny and he's like, he calls himself everyone's granddad and he's just really lovely. And some people gravitate and radiate more to him than they would someone like me who, okay, I'm not so young anymore, but I was when I started. So your trainers can actually attract a different type of person that you might not. Some people might be starstruck by you, or they might not. They might want to do it, but they might think, oh, well, you're going to be too physical and too high energy. I want to just do it a bit more, you know. So the older people. So yeah, don't give up on that.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love going in there and working with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, it is love. It is.
And it's more special when you don't go to every class.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the kids are like, oh my god, and then they just, you know, you can see them all kind of get into their, and their little chest gets up and their nose is up, and they try to do it. And every time they're looking over at you, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I love it, and I love how they interact with the teachers as well. I think it's very important because again, me coming from, you know, I learned in that way, and you know, I had a teacher that was amazing, and you know, I trusted that person, and I was able to express and be fun, and nobody, you know, telling you that you're doing wrong and pointing a finger at you. And so it is quite nice, the atmosphere that is in that class when I go in, and just watching it from the side. You know, I see how much joy the kids have when they're doing it. But you know, and it's great that, you know, hopefully we're learning as we go. Again, just learning and you know, the numbers, and it's very hard to kind of deal with parents. You know, we have someone that's helping us out with the, you know, the whole administration and everything, but you know, I'd like to stay on top of everything, but I can't. You know, sometimes I can't look at all the emails and you know, all the, you know, oh, this person.
I know a good book that will help you with all of that.
Another third.
I'll lend it to you.
But I mean, that's my multitasking kicking in. I'm like, I want to read the email, so I have to.
Maybe also a bit of artistic control. You know, because you know your dance teachers, they represent you and your brand as individuals. And so, you know, if the parent's not happy because they haven't received an email or the admin's been bad, they're not happy with you guys because your face is on it. We have 400,000 subscribers to our emails, and I don't write the emails. I haven't written emails for years. I probably shouldn't say that, but there's 400,000 people that thought they were getting emails from me. But my face is on the front, you know, or the bottom. So every time there's a stupid spelling mistake or we get an unsubscribe because someone's annoyed because we've sent too many or whatever.
I feel bad sometimes when if I see something that I don't get back, or I know somebody else is supposed to get back, and I'm already there, like, should I answer back, or should I do it? Should I do it myself, or you know? But that's the control freak in me. But sometimes I just have to let who I hire take care of that. And if she's, you know, if that person is not taking care of it, then. But I mean, you know, the girl that's working with us, Kate, she's absolutely brilliant. You know, and she has been a lifesaver for us because, you know, at first I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, you mustn't have got taught any of this stuff when you're dancing. It's like at school, they don't teach you about managing money, and they don't teach you sort of the commercial realities of life. Because for you to be able to continue to express yourself freely in your dance, you need to be able to pay your mortgages, pay your Ubers, pay your coffees. You know, you need a certain amount of overhead paid. And if you have to worry about that because you don't know how to manage that, then you can't then go and have your time and headspace to go and be your best creatively.
Exactly. And we thought we were going to be doing it in conjunction with an agency. It was a talent agency, and when we said about the idea to them, they sort of said, yeah, well, we can sort of run the whole thing for you, and
You mean the dance schools?
Yeah. And but then they sort of didn't really
do
anything. I think they just wanted us on their
to leverage you.
They could take a percentage, and then they didn't really get the idea. And we ended up sort of just not going ahead with it, and we missed like our start date of when we were about to miss. That's what Cam was saying before. We were about to sort of just not do it, and then we literally have to listen to, I think, one of your podcasts actually, which was about the whole sort of get perfect later.
Yes.
You know, stop trying to overanalyze and get it as perfect as possible before you even start. And Cameron went, let's just do it and see what happens.
It's funny, I mean, because I always listen to podcasts and I like to learn a lot, and I was listening to a Reid Hoffman one just today, and he said, if you're not embarrassed about the very first time you launch something, a product, an event or whatever, you launched it too late. So, you know, it's like getting your minimum viable product out there. You're best off getting a dance school and having 3 locations and having 4 people turn up, than waiting a year, because in a year you might have 40 people that turn up to each one, and the 12th month will be so much better than the first month. And if you launched the first month and got 200 people there, and it wasn't really very good, then it's a problem.
Exactly. So we keep sort of changing things here and there,
I mean, the structure,
adapting the structure of the classes, exactly how we're teaching them.
I think we started out with one structure, and then we had some feedback from the parents, but sometimes I don't know whether we should listen to that, and then sometimes we're like, I think we should structure a little bit more differently, because then it's easier for the teachers as well, because obviously some of our teachers who are brilliant, some of them are ballroom dancers, some of them are actresses, they're musical theater, so we in detail send them a video of what we want them to teach, so every week they have their class mapped out
on video, or they teach it.
I interviewed Daley Thompson a few weeks ago. He's a cool guy, and there was loads of computer games made from him. You should have a computer game.
Have a computer game?
You should, like one of those Wii, is it? When you dance on the screen. You should do that.
Yeah, totally.
I'll take 20%. I've broken the deal for you. But I can imagine that. I mean, you've definitely popularised. I mean, say you guys and Strictly and everyone has definitely popularised this genre, haven't you?
Oh definitely.
And that must be really exciting.
No, absolutely. I mean, you would never imagine, ballroom dancing or Latin dancing being so popular, and actually dance on its own. I mean, you have so many dance movies, so many. I mean, La La Land, for example, is all dance based, and it was won an Oscar, and it's great to see that. The old Hollywood movies they're coming back, and having families get together to watch a dance show and learn about it and be knowledgeable about it, and I think that's fantastic. I mean, I wish I grew up watching that. I mean, you guys had that here. I didn't really have that in Venezuela or New York. I used to watch Saved by the Bell. But
as did I. That was really good.
But it is it has made us into who we are as well.
And that's why now's the time to to do it all. I don't know how long the shelf life. It might be that Strictly lasts for another 50 years, and it's all just glorious. But I don't know. It might be 1 year. I don't know.
How long do we have?
I mean, do you worry about in your getting into your 40s and beyond, and not being able to physically maintain?
Well, I mean, for example, I've just turned 35, and I still feel very fit and very capable, but. In about 5 years, I want to start a family, or I want to. I don't.
That means 1 year, mate. That means 1 year.
She means 5 years max.
With 5 years, your son's going to be 4.5.
I mean, I don't think I'll end up. Stop it, you two. You're naughty. I don't think I'll still want to be, at 40 in Strictly. I want to do something else, but I mean, I won't stop dancing, but. I still want to be very active in my dance career, but I won't be as, energetic and, I mean, if I maintain everything, of course, but there is a time when, you have to slow down. But especially for...
But I mean, if the schools are going really well, then, you have that business side of it, the income.
And I just created this new program called the Dancer Experience, and it's for adults, and I have... So it's fitness. A dancer, we do fitness. We do all of our warm ups. Everything that I'm basing this dance on is what dancers do to prepare themselves. So I'll do exercises that I've created on myself and that I do to keep fit. And then, we do certain exercises, and then we do a choreography class. And I did a class already, and it sold really well, actually.
Right.
And I have another class, and it's sold out. So that's my little empire, my little fitness dash.
So you can do as many Ubers and coffees as you want.
Exactly.
And she's not going to be showing you the accounts, mate.
I'm making coffee at home now. So But that's something that I want to do once I slow down a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I want to create it now, so then when I'm not in Strictly anymore.
Yeah.
I have that to follow on as well.
Yeah, something I really passionately want to try and share with people who are in sports careers and careers like yours, where when you're 40, or in rugby, like when you're 30, it can be over, is you need to think about that really early. I interviewed Frank Bruno, who's become quite a good friend of mine, Frank Bruno, and his main trainer, when he was 19 years old, he said, you need to plan your career after boxing. And that, that's very wise, isn't it? Because obviously Frank Bruno's probably thinking boxing, and hopefully going until he's 40. But you one punch and you're out.
Exactly.
Another friend of mine, Hal Luscombe, who played professionally for Wales, brilliant rugby player, won the 5 Nations or 6 Nations now, and he got injured when he was, I think, 31. He was, or maybe even 30. He still had a few years left, knee injury, but. I don't think he had to retire, but he knew he could because he bought quite a lot of property. And so he was able to. And yet there's other players who have to try and play rugby until they're 38, completely beat themselves up. Yeah. So they can't, hardly move. And then what do they do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which we've had a lot of discussions about, haven't we? Because it's something you're very aware of. Is
Yeah, and like I say, I feel like there's this window right now where now's the time to do all the projects that we want to do, create everything that we want to create, thinking about the future going forward. You can't just live in this bit now.
Yeah. I asked Kevin this when I did the first podcast with him. I'd love to ask you. So this podcast is called The Disruptive Entrepreneur. What does the word disruptive mean to you?
I think I've heard this actually. Kevin plays your podcast while he's taking a bath.
Good man. Yeah. So you're forced to listen to it, basically.
I'm forced to listen to it, and I hear everybody, always making their doing their descriptions, and I actually thought about what I would say, and now I've completely forgotten. Disruptive entrepreneur. I don't like being put on the spot. Can I dance it out?
Yeah. Okay.
That's so weird.
Well, what did you say, Kevin? Do you remember?
I don't remember specifically what I said, but it would have been along the lines of just changing the system, going in with an idea.
Thanks for the tip. This is what I'm saying. I don't like going into things.
Going in with an idea that changes people's minds, that they haven't seen it done that way before, and taking things in a new direction.
Because we know you're. There you go. You're good at take. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Recreating, reinventing, giving new ideas, putting everything out there. It's almost. I almost see it like that static in when you turn on the TV sometimes and there's just static. I feel that it's a shake-up.
Yeah.
And it's almost like an awakening.
Yeah. There you go. A shake up, an awakening. That's brilliant. We might be using that for some of the sound bites. So,
Boom, boom, shake the room.
See what I mean? I go like that, and then she creates something brilliant.
We saw it. Yeah, maybe that should be the intro. Yeah. All right. So, look, I want to say thanks very much for taking your time out of your busy schedule.
Oh, thank you.
In a week, you're going to be on tour. So, thanks for fitting us in. We're going for dinner now, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Great. Good luck on your tour. Tell us how to follow you. I know a lot of people would be interested. So.
Yeah. If you go to kevinandkarendance.com, there's information on there. We also have the Kevin and Karen Dance community on Facebook. There's always lots of links on there. At Kevy Clifton on Twitter and Instagram.
And at Karen Clifton official on Instagram, at Karen_Hauer, Hauer.
Okay.
On Twitter.
Right. Well, let's sell your tour out.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you.